Welcome to Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.
It is Frog Talk. I'm Corey Michaels, along with fundraising specialist Alicia Phillips. And this time around, we're talking about what type of fundraiser is going to be best for you. Now, we all know that it's been an odd, to say the very least, time in our lives, and especially for nonprofits. They've been struggling just like local businesses. You know, money has been tight. And so fundraising right now for nonprofits more important than ever before, but you have to make sure you're doing what's right for you. Now, with the emergence of the virtual events, which we've done over 80 of those now, raised millions of dollars, and those are great for certain organizations to replace their gala, their, whatever of that kind of big event. And so that's right for some. Others, we've done hybrid events where it's part virtual event, part smaller, socially distanced crowd. I can't really even call it a crowd, a gathering anymore at this point. That's going to ease up. That will change. We all cross our fingers and hope. But then there's also video vignette packages that we've done that have been very successful for certain organizations. And then there's others that are still in the tried and true golf tournament, whatever they've been doing and are still able to do during this time. But for a small to medium nonprofit, maybe one that's just been kind of getting started, how do you know what is going to be best for you? And that's a tough question.
It really is a tough question. I think the starting point for every nonprofit comes down to how much money do you need to raise, and what does your donor base look like? If you're looking to raise $25,000 and you have 100 people who are really excited to come on board, a gala is not going to be the event for you.
No.
Because the cost is going to be so high. So it always comes back to that budget number. What do I need to raise? And then looking at the expense ratio. If I need to raise $25,000, I really need to be spending $5,000 or less to obtain that goal. And that's where you can start really looking at numbers and variance. Also, what does your online population look like? Are you an organization that has people all across the country? Are you an organization that has international support? If you have 100,000 Facebook followers all across the country, an online event is going to crush it for you.
Absolutely.
You're going to be amazing in an online event. And a gala is going to be ineffective for you, even if you had the opportunity to host a local gala, if your people are not all local.
Well, and that's something that we've seen with several organizations that have had, they had always done their annual gala and they were always quite successful with it. But what they realized in having to change, and we did virtual events for them, all of a sudden, all of that fan base, that base of donors and people that are excited. One of those was Chimpanzee Sanctuary Northwest. And then we just did one for the Center for Great Apes. I'll keep with a theme there. But with both of those, there were people all over the world that were able to be a part of their event that never would have been able to be at a gala. They wouldn't have flown all the way from the UK or from Greece or wherever to be there, even if they could have gotten tickets and got into the event. And so that was money that was left on the table for years. You hope to get magic money out of them or through a social media campaign or something. But how many of those people over those years would have given? The Center for Great Apes, we literally had just about every continent in the world represented during their virtual event. It was exciting. It was awesome. And with both of those organizations, for them, they realized, oh my goodness, look at all these people that never would have been able to be a part of it before. So it was perfect for them. But if this is, like Alicia was saying, if yours is really just a community-based event, well, maybe the virtual event, maybe it's right for you, maybe it's not, maybe a hybrid type event, or maybe it is a marketing campaign with vignettes.
Maybe, and I think it comes down to knowing your numbers and knowing your donors. Have a conversation with your sponsors and kind of what they're looking to get out of it, because there's a lot of ways of marketing through online events or hybrid events that you can't do just in a local event by itself.
Right.
A lot more bang for your buck, for example. One thing that's really interesting with trying to choose an event is not even just, do I go online? Do I do hybrid? Do I have an in-person event? It's also what type of in-person event that you want to host. A gala is not the solution for everybody. A breakfast is not going to be the solution for everybody. It just comes down to what's going to work for your group. I have a nonprofit that I work with, Laurel's Legacy, and they host a luau and a golf tournament. They couldn't host a luau this year. Because of pandemic, it just wasn't going to work. But golf tournaments were still happening with modifications and restrictions. They had the most successful golf tournament, almost doubled their revenue this year. And we've saw a lot of golf tournaments be really successful this year when they could hold them. And the golf courses were really great to work with. So that could be something for a nonprofit that they might not have explored before.
And something that we've talked about before is maybe, rather, if you have the staff and the ability to pull it off, is to have 2 or 3 events that are targeted to different sections of your, of your constituents, of your donor base. And so that you have one that's more family oriented for the couples and the families that don't want to, they're not going to be able to take the kids to a gala in most cases. And so here they're able to do something as a family and be able to benefit your cause. And then maybe the next night is a gala type event, and you've got more of your larger corporate donors and that type of thing that are into that. And then maybe you cap it off with a golf tournament on Saturday. I know you're probably having your head spin right now at the thought of doing 3 back-to-back, but if you have the ability to do that, if you have the staff, the volunteers, whatever, to be able to pull it off, then you're really making sure that you're covering all of your bases.
Definitely. And I agree with you. You really have to know what you have in place for staff and volunteers. We did a gala. It was a 20th anniversary gala for a nonprofit. And we're like, it's the 20th year. We're going to do something extra special. We're going to start opening up that younger audience. The gala itself was 700 people, sold out year over year over year, similar to events that we've seen here locally, right? Where you can't even get a table unless you're on top of it. What we did is we added a younger generation, a 20-something to an early 30s crowd, kind of a cocktail party. But literally, we flipped items through the middle of the night from one event to the other. So if you don't have the right set of volunteers, staffing, and plan, it's extremely hard to do that. Again, if you do, you can make it really successful. One of the things I love about these hybrid events is the ability to have 100 to 150 people based on restrictions and what the room looks like in a space. So you're still getting that networking. You're still getting that opportunity to meet people. Events, as we know, have a very special place in fundraising. They're not always going to be where you get your biggest amount of dollars, but they are going to be where you have a point of contact with your donors, where you can see them, you can talk to them, you can introduce them to each other, you can build relationships. There's a really important place for these events where people are allowed to engage with each other. And that hybrid event gives you the opportunity to still take a lot of your donors and put them together in a space that's safe and engaging while giving you the opportunity to reach out to many, many other people through the online platform.
And something that you need to think about, no matter, and I know it's tough because change is not easy. Change is hard. It's an uncomfortable place to be, but we're in nothing but a world of change right now. And keep in mind that coming up, even once the pandemic starts to wane and get control of the situation, there are going to be a lot of people, and probably a lot of your donors as well, that are not going to want to be, maybe ever, in a large group like that. Or at least not anytime real soon, even after things are better. So don't lose out on those dollars. That's, like Alicia was saying, why a hybrid event, I think, is going to be kind of the new gala type way of doing it. So you have the people that are happy to be able to go out and to be in person and see each other and wave across the room and buy each other a drink and celebrate this great cause. And then there's going to be the people that have that same passion. They just aren't going to go out to get into a big room, but they would sit there on the couch at home in the safety of their home and be able to still be a part of it and feel connected. So it worked really well for several organizations so far. Special Olympics crushed their goal of what they were looking for this past year by doing their roundup dinner instead of just the in-person event that it's always been. And I've emceed and hosted that one for 12, 13 years now. And we had only about 80 people in the O'Connor Fieldhouse that seats like 1,500 people. So everyone was very well socially distanced, but they still felt connected. We had something online, this beautiful half an hour pre-produced piece for all the folks that were watching the virtual event side of things, because no one wants to see everybody else eat food. So
right.
We were able to create this great, entertaining, and informative, beautiful, beautiful video piece that ran for 30 minutes while everyone else was eating and doing their thing. And then when it came time to all the stuff on the stage, and the Baker Auction Company was going to be doing the live auction, I was emceeing it, and then we were able to make that switch right at that time. So as it ended on the virtual side of that production, then we were able to join live with the virtual, and people were able to bid at home, bid in the room. Everybody got to have fun. Everyone got to be excited and connected with the organization. It was an outstanding success.
I think the other thing that's been really interesting during the pandemic is because the in-person events have been tailored or canceled or postponed, nonprofits have had to get creative with their fundraising again. And a lot of times they've had to go back to basics. And that's where some of those vignettes and that storytelling comes back into play. Mm-hmm. It is more important now than ever to be mission forward, to know your brand and to be focused on your mission, to share your mission, to build your donor base online with your emails, with phone calls, whatever that looks like as far as how you're reaching out with people, but to be in touch with your donors and spend that time with them, getting to know them, talk through what they're feeling, what their fears are, and having them re-engaged with your nonprofit in a very back to basics kind of way, taking out all the glitz and glam of everybody thinks they need a gala, and they don't. Every nonprofit does not need a gala. That's just reality. They could do, some small pod type fundraising where you have 20, 30 people in a room at a dinner that are connected, that are talking through what they really want to do to make change happen. How do we really further the mission of a nonprofit? How do we invest in that? And that's just a different mindset. And I think that's a positive that's come out of the pandemic as far as fundraising goes, is the creation of building bigger bases online, getting to know your donors again, really going back to your storytelling and how you're sharing your mission with organizations, taking out some of the showmanship of it has basically stripped you back to what are you at your core as a nonprofit? What is your why? And how can we help you share that why with this new group of donors that you have coming through online fundraising? Because money's still moving. Nonprofits are still having to do their missions. Doors still have to be open for like a Nampa Family Justice Center, where you still have people going through domestic violence. You still have people who don't have food and the food bank needs to be open. You still have all these organizations that have an incredibly important purpose in the community. That doesn't change because a pandemic has come. Mm-hmm. If anything, those needs are so much greater than they've ever been. How are we sharing that mission with a population of people in a safe way and really getting that message out there so that we can raise those dollars and do what we need to do?
And we can be able to help you to determine which way to go, help guide you. We've got such a passionate staff that our goal, and we really are blessed with not just helping one, but helping hundreds, thousands of different organizations around the country, locally, around the world. And so we get to spend every day helping you to be able to make the best possible choices and the best possible events for your organization. So we'll help you, guide you into which way is and which choice is going to be right for you. Just give us a call. You can always get more details at auctionfrogs.org.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Frog Talk, an Auction Frogs podcast series all about events and fundraising in a post-2020 world. For more information on Auction Frogs and the services we offer, visit auctionfrogs.org today.